It is always fun to bring a friend on the show. And I'm so delighted to be bringing a friend on today. Miss Kendall Jenner. You know her. You love her. She's Kendall Jenner. For the one person out there that maybe doesn't know, I almost feel like I don't even know how to introduce her because of course you know her. But just in case there's one person out there who doesn't have a phone, Kendall Jenner is a model, entrepreneur, and media personality. She's the founder of 818 Tequila, which I've enjoyed on many nights out. And actually, 818 Tequila has collaborated with my coffee brand, Chamberlain Coffee, and we made an espresso martini kit, which was a delightful experience and a delightful drink. And again, I've had many evenings with those. 818 Tequila has already won over 32 international tasting awards, including Best Reposado Tequila from the World Tequila Awards, Platinum Award from the SIP Awards, Chairman's Trophy from the Ultimate Spirits Challenge, Triple Gold from the Micro Liquor Spirit Awards, Top 100 Spirits from the Ultimate Spirits Challenge, and Innovation Award from the SIP Awards. So it's safe to say you should try some 818 if you haven't. Kindall is also an incredible model. She's walked many, many shows, been on the cover of Vogue internationally many times, Harper's Bazaar, Allure, the list goes on. And it all started on the show that we all know and love, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, an E-series, which is now on Hulu. And we've fallen in love with Kindall over the years. Kindall has been in the public eye since she was 10 years old, which is something that gives me the chills to think about. I can't imagine what that experience was like for her. And even though we're friends, I've not really discussed that with her very much. So I'm excited to learn more about what that experience was like for her and how she manages, being one of the most well-known public figures in the world, and how she manages being a part of one of the most famous families in the world. Because although I think there are very many beautiful things about that experience and things that add to her life and make her life more fulfilling, I can imagine there are also a slew of challenges. And I'm excited to discuss these things with Kindall. She's a delightful person, a very sweet person, a very generous person, and I just absolutely adore her, and I'm excited that she's on the show. And I'm excited to chat with her. We're going to chat it up, just girls chatting, and let's bring her in. Here's Kendall Jenner. First question is, do you like interviews?
I do in this setting. I do now, especially when it feels like whether it's meaningful things. I mean, I think I like that in life in general, but something that's meaningful for sure. And you're my friend, and I feel like I love feeling really comfortable.
Yes.
And safe. I think that's really important for me because there's been experiences in my life that don't feel very safe. So, or maybe I feel like I was naive or young or didn't have much of a say in certain things. So I like environments where I feel like we just sat down and we started vibing.
Controlled.
I don't want to feel nervous and anxious and all those things. It's
totally.
Sometimes it's too much.
It's nice to have it be a hang where you also know that you're in control of the way that things are presented to the outside world. It's not like you're going into talking to me and you're concerned that I'm going to cut around some shit and make you look a certain way that's bad.
Yeah.
Which I think is something that when it comes to press is it's out of our control.
There's so much lack of control of your own narrative. And I think that it's exactly, I'm a control freak by nature too. And I think that, you surrender to a lot being in the industry that we're in. You surrender to so much false narrative or, rumors or whatever, false stories or anything. You surrender to a lot and the things that people want to create for you. So I think, it's special to be able to have, I guess, the privilege that we do, which is being able to say I feel comfortable here and I'm okay to do this and whatever. So I hope that answers your question.
No, it completely does. Okay. And I'm so glad that you're here. We get to hang out.
Me too.
Something interesting about you is that you are very public in a lot of ways, and you've been very public since you were really young. But I feel like a lot of people don't know certain little things about you, such as what time you wake up in the morning and what your favorite breakfast is. was thinking about this when I was driving here today. I was like, I actually don't know like what, and even though I'm your friend, like
yeah.
I don't know these little innocent things about you. And so I'm gonna start out by asking you a few little things that I'm just genuinely curious about.
do it.
Okay, number one, what time do you wake up in the morning for the most part?
For the most part, I'm like, I mean, today I was up at like 7:30. I like
You're early.
and like that was a little more on the early side, but I was just on the East Coast, so I think that I'm a little bit jet lagged. But I like getting up early. If I don't have to, if I don't have work, I don't want to force myself. But I also enjoy like getting a full day. I'm like, I'm the type of person, like, I don't know if I've only had like a couple all-nighters in my life.
Wow.
And like what they give me anxiety. Like I like if the sun's coming up and I'm still awake, like I have full anxiety because I like to be productive during my day.
I totally get it.
Whatever. So I actually enjoy getting up quite early. I think on average, I'm getting up like 8:30.
Okay.
And like, yeah, like around 8:30, and I like to get up and either go to the gym or go ride or something and like do something active when I get up.
I always forget that you ride horses.
Yeah. It's a therapeutic, you know, activity in general, but there's something so nostalgic. Like, I don't know, like, did you have something, like, did you have a sport or like a creative thing that you did when you were younger? Okay. Well, I don't know if you want to get back into cheer, but like.
No, but I think about it sometimes. I'm like, I would go to a gym and like tumble at a gym. And I've actually done it a few times since I quit cheer, and I fucking loved it.
And I think that there's something special about that experience of like doing something when you were a kid that was so genuinely, like there was no reason why you loved it so much or whatever. It was so genuine for me to ride and be around horses, and I stopped for a while, and to come back to it as an adult, there was just something like, there's something so like, I feel very grounded. I feel very like, I feel like a kid again, total inner child work. Like it's so actually good. Kind of amazing in that way. So I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? You can do multiple.
Like a genre? Should I pick like
it could be a genre. It could be like a random assortment of like 4 things, but a meal. Like if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life.
Okay, see, you're putting a lot of pressure on me giving you like a wild answer, but I'm like,
It could be something, I honestly think like weirdly like a Kraft mac and cheese is like more interesting.
So good.
So good. Annie's is better, but.
There's things, you think so?
I do.
Okay, whatever. I like it. There's something about Kraft, going back to nostalgia. Is like Kraft is just like, there's something so special about it. Like
it is special. There's nothing.
And
like
leftover Kraft like the next day.
It's like a block.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's so good. I would literally take it out of the fridge cold and just start like cutting chunks off. Like that's delicious.
I don't know. I always say, like, I feel like I've, you know, within friend groups, just like you get asked this question or when you're drunk or something. I don't know. But I feel like I love Italian. Like there's so many options within Italian food. And I think that I could, because I think if you, like, I was thinking about sushi for a second and I was like, but I feel like although there are probably a lot more options than I've tried, I feel like it's a little more limiting. Like, I think Italian has like everything almost. Like, there's so many options. And I think that, like, I've been on trips to Italy where you just go eat pasta every day, all day, and I never get sick of it.
Yes.
So I'm like, I think it's that.
I mean,
something that I won't get sick of.
You can really, there are so many different pasta shapes, and despite what people think, they all taste different.
They are.
So it's every penne is a different food than spaghetti to me.
There's different meaning.
It's so like, I just need to get that out of the way before I now ask you really deep questions, and it's going to get really weird.
It's all
no,
good.
it's not going to be weird. It's going to be
Unless
delightful.
I make it weird.
We might start crying. I can't wait. So I constantly think about your childhood being your friend.
You do?
Which is like really weird.
Whoa, okay.
I don't know. I got into the public eye at like 16 and not even nearly to the scale that you have experienced. And I had such a profound like level of challenge with it. Like it was so hard, and I'm just now sort of figuring it out and getting to a place where like I'm able to manage the psychological impact.
That's a blessing that you've gotten there as well.
I don't even know, and I still don't have it figured out, but like I think about if it would have happened to me younger and how that would have impacted me. And I'm like, I can't tell, like, would you say that it's made you sort of immune in some ways? I know that the answer is no, but maybe in some ways, yes. Has it made you immune in some ways? Do you feel like you have a thicker skin because of it? Has it maybe had the opposite impact and made you more vulnerable in some ways? Like, what do you think how do you think that has impacted your mental state throughout the years?
I think it's like a little bit of everything almost. Like it has made me tougher, but it also has made me a little bit more
Mhm.
vulnerable or maybe a little sensitive to certain things. But I think also like there is no comparison in like how it happened to you and how it happened to me, but I
Totally.
think that it was like different times also cuz you think about like when our show started there wasn't Instagram,
That's true.
there wasn't social media like it is today. So I think that it was just a little different. It almost felt like I've thought about it before where like it's a little Hannah Montana-y in the way of like I didn't have a disguise or I didn't have like a
Mhm.
physical shift, but I think that there was a sense and I say Kylie and I cuz she's not only my sister but we're so close in age and
Mhm.
I very thankfully got to do it with like a partner, you know what I mean? And we went to school. Like we went to school as long as we could. I started homeschool 11 and 12 I did homeschool. 11th and 12th grade. But up until then, I did, regular school. So even though we had a TV show at home, we were going to regular school all day and had our friends that we had from before the show started. So I owe a lot of like, I think the ease to it, which it wasn't always easy, but it did feel kind of normal just
Mhm.
because we were in school for so long and we did have our group of friends and we lived as much of like a normal life as I think was possible. And I'm like so grateful for that because I do
Mhm.
feel like although there were definitely struggles, especially when we got a little bit older and people started to like kind of care about me and Kylie's life more than when we were like I was 10 I think when the show started.
Mhm.
So it took a few years till people started to like invest maybe and like into our lives and whatever and things started to shift, but I think another thing that we really had that was really something I'm grateful for is it kind of grew as we got older. So it was
Yeah.
a little bit, I want to say gradual. I have friends who've had an overnight experience, and I don't know if you feel like maybe your experience was slightly overnight or fast.
It was pretty fast.
I
Yeah.
as an outsider, I would say your experience was kind of fast.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you were yeah, you, like, grew really quickly on YouTube and
Yep.
stuff, right? And I think there's a little bit of a difference maybe in impact, but also with, like, the time of social media, like,
Yeah.
I grew with social media as well as growing
Yes.
with, like, the fame, I guess, but definitely so many challenges, definitely. I also think it made me, grow up a little faster maybe.
Mhm.
There was, like, a level of maturity that I found. I was always a relatively, I think, mature kid, but I think there was a level of maturity that also had to grow really quickly. Like, I was working at a really young age, I was traveling alone at a pretty young age,
Mhm.
traveling the world, not alone, I was with, obviously my agent who's also my really good friend, but without my parents, without
Yeah.
my family, like, and all those things. So a little bit of early growth as well. And I don't know, I'm grateful for my experience, I have to say, because I also know that there are people that might have it, that it might be, really tough for them. And especially like in the mental health space of it all. I think that I've obviously had my moments even as a kid. And I think Kylie and I had to go through like very like adult things at a really young age. And
Mhm.
I don't know, like a lot of internet hate at a really young age, which I feel
Yes.
like a lot of us have experienced, and even just like, yeah, just weird stuff like that. But
Well,
overall, I am really grateful because I
yeah.
think it could have been a lot worse. And I think that Kylie and I, the one thing that we really had was a lot of stability, a lot of love, and a like really great support system and really great friends. So it felt
Yeah.
like we could remove ourselves a lot of the time and
Yep.
feel really like normal.
Well, also too, I think having your family be all kind of I never really thought about this until now, which is bizarre because it's so obvious, but it's like it's all kind of scaling at the same time. So it's like, you know, you and Kylie are going through it at the same time, but also, you know, your other sisters and then
Yeah.
also even, your parents and it's like it's all happening to everyone
Yeah.
at once.
Yeah.
So it's like you can go to anyone of your closest loved ones
Mhm.
and you can have these conversations with
Yeah.
anyone. It's like which I think is probably really helpful and it's probably also interesting to watch how, you know, your different family members have responded to these things and, you know, their different perspectives and their different responses to it.
Well, they're also older. So
That
we got to
totally.
see them make mistakes as well.
Yeah.
We learn from them in
Yeah.
positive ways too. But I think that that's where Kylie and I also get kind of the privacy aspect of like our personal lives, which our sisters were always really open with, especially on like the earlier days of our show and all of that. But it's just kind of been something that I think we learned from, not in a negative way at all, but just
Mhm.
kind of like took it and said, this is how I would personally deal with like my journey.
Absolutely.
And no shame or blame to how anyone else would deal with theirs. But I think that was just, those are just things you pick up on. So I think there's also an aspect of us being really grateful that we had older siblings that we got to see do things before us or like, yeah, like lead us in a way.
I feel like one of the biggest challenges that comes with being in the public eye, especially at your scale, is sort of being a societal punching bag.
Mm-hmm.
I again think about this all the time because you reach a certain level of fame, of notoriety, and it is inevitable.
Mm.
It's just inevitable and it's gonna happen. You can't do anything right. Like it's just what happens.
Mm.
How do you deal with that?
I do and I don't, I'd say. I think that it's part of the long journey that I've had of like, I guess that's where like the tough skin aspect comes in.
Mhm.
But I'd be lying to you if I said I haven't fallen victim to like,
Of course.
oh my God, like that sucks that that's like a narrative or like that's just so not true or that's not who I am. Like there's definitely a frustration and me again being a control freak or being someone who like everybody wants to be understood
Mhm.
and to feel like I want to live a private life, but then that also kind of means sometimes not having control over a narrative or
Mhm.
maybe giving space for someone else to create the narrative. That can get kind of frustrating to feel like, oh, that's a misunderstanding or like you've completely misunderstood me and you know you want to like be you want to like almost respond to everything or like try and prove people wrong, but
Yes.
I've learned my lesson, and especially as I get older with stuff like that is like staying like level and being authentic to like exactly who you are and knowing your worth and knowing who you are and then being able to sit back and like take the high road in a way and be like, you know what? What's the point in addressing something that's one, not even true, and then two, like not gonna change anything even if I do. I think that that's almost been my power is like being able to sit back and be comfortable with it at this
Mhm.
point and be like, anybody who needs to know who I am will know who I am, and anybody who really matters to me or who comes close to me, like, they'll see, and I almost kinda love the, like, proving people wrong or, like, people might walk into it being like, "I have an idea of this because of what I've seen on the
Absolutely.
internet," and then being pleasantly surprised is, like, I'm cool with that, like, I'm happy to be. I'm also, like, such a Scorpio, I'm like, I don't wanna give everybody everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, when someone means something to me and something feels really special or sacred to me, like, I'm really happy that they get to experience that version of me, and it
Totally.
feels almost special to that person as well.
Mhm.
So, I can't give you, like, a straight up answer of, like, what has helped me or what has changed things or what has fixed I don't know, whatever, but I think that it's a long process. It is years. I am 28. This journey started when I was 10, and
Yeah.
like I think that it's been a really long time for me to get to where I am now, and it's never going to be. There's never like an end to the like process of healing or the process of like figuring out your way. Like it's always, I don't know, changing and evolving and
Absolutely.
whatever, yeah.
So, let's get into modeling a bit.
Okay.
I think a lot of people romanticize it and are like, this is the dream. Like this is the dream job. Like
Mm,
just being beautiful and you know, getting to wear these beautiful clothes and doing all these things. But as with all things, there's incredible elements such as, you know, why people romanticize the line of work, but then there's also, you know, challenges with it that I think are less considered, and I'm curious to hear what have been sort of the parts of modeling that are maybe the most romanticized that don't maybe match that in reality. In the sense, like, you know, not to shit on modeling at all as a in any way, or to shit on the experience, or to like take away from the magic that I can imagine that that career path can bring, but more to sort of just shed light on the reality of it for the sake of proving to people that the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Do you know
Well,
what I'm saying?
I think it definitely goes without saying that, like, there is hair and makeup and lighting on, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
the physical of it is not always that way, right? Like, I think that's with anybody, anything, and I think that you're in the best hands most of the time, and you're in, like, you know, the best setting for your, like, physical and all
Totally.
the things. And so I think that when it comes to, like, you know, someone on a cover of a magazine or, like, in an editorial, they're gonna, like, probably, you know, it's not always that perfect and that shiny.
Totally.
So there's that, but I think that kind of goes without saying. And I think that as for romanticizing it, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I've had like a, you know, a really, like, I've had the toughest journey and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all those things. I think I've been extremely fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have had, you know, my own set of challenges, and whether that be, you know, whether it's overworked or whether it's not getting a job that I would have really loved to get. I think that something that is to be said about anyone who would want to get into it, or that has any idea of it, is it is a lot of, like, self-love, like a big self-love
Yeah, that's what I
journey.
was gonna
Like,
ask about.
yeah, it's like it's very, you have to have such a strong relationship with yourself to be able to go into it, because it can be cutthroat, and it can be like you are sometimes like, "Oh my god, why didn't I am I not, you know, enough for this job," or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So there are those moments, or, you know, people also in the industry can be really, like, tough or blunt or brutal, and so I think there's those types of things for sure. But again, I'm so grateful. I've had, like, a really, beautiful experience, and again,
Mm-hmm.
came with some of its challenges as well.
I think a lot of people, myself included, would have assumed like, oh, this is probably the confidence boost of a lifetime. Like, this being your career path or whatever,
Yeah.
being able to do that. But then I think the truth of the matter is it's like you're in this sort of business of just looking a certain way in a way. And
Yeah.
it's like in a lot of ways, I think, you do have to figure out how to put your worth elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know how in the world a young
A young
woman could
girl, yeah.
possibly manage that.
Yeah, I think that it also is a lot of, like, I think that it's a lot of having, like, great people around you, a great support
Mhm.
system, and, great family, great friends, and again, for anyone who would ever wanna do it, I think is literally having a great relationship with yourself, enough to be able to go home at the end of the night and still, like, look yourself in the mirror and be happy and love yourself. I think
Mhm.
that that's the biggest thing, and yeah.
It's also lonely. I've
Oh
heard
my
through the
god,
grapevine
yeah.
about, like
Very.
you're very young a
Yeah.
lot of the times, like, 16, 17, 18, 19, and you're traveling around alone
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, I was, it is very lonely. Like, I've had really, you know, dark nights where I've been in, you know, kind of random cities and just hysterically crying myself to sleep because I hadn't
Yeah.
been home in 3 months, and I've been pretty much alone the entire time, or I'm on a job and something really, you know, crazy happens at home that I would love to be there for, and
Mhm.
I'm being told I can't be, and, like, just there's been a lot of, definite moments where I'm like, "What is going on? Like, is this
Yes.
all worth it?" And then,
Yes.
you know, when I look back on the time that I've had with it so far, it is a really beautiful thing to be able to travel the world the way I have. I probably would have never traveled the way I have,
Totally.
or the amount that I have, had I not had this job. I've met really amazing people. A
Mhm.
lot of my friends are because of this job. A lot of cool creative people, a lot of, like, inspiration in my life is, like,
Mhm.
all because of my job. So I feel very grateful for it. I feel very grateful for my experience, and for having a relatively really good experience. I feel really grateful because I have heard, a lot of stories from friends of mine and people that I
Yeah.
know and peers and stuff that haven't.
What's like your grounding routine when you're traveling a lot? Like especially, you know, maybe during like peak travel times with
Mm,
modeling? Like
yeah.
what was your sort of grounding routine?
I don't think I had the tools I have now. I think a lot of it was obviously friends, and then also I had friends in the industry, like really good friends who I knew before
Yeah,
as well. So I think that was really helpful, was my friends being around,
totally.
because it didn't feel so lonely. But I think that now, when feeling overwhelmed or feeling like I need that kind of grounding experience, like if I'm away,
Mhm.
I'm a water sign. So
Mhm.
and water naturally is a cleanser. So, like, I
Mhm.
believe in, like, cleansing my body any way I can. So if I'm like overwhelmed or I'm out, like I want to go stand in a shower if that's my closest form to water.
Interesting.
I want to go like cleanse my body, cleanse my soul, like even in a bathtub, like a bath is really good. Put my heart underwater and like just like chill. Those are like really good tactics for me to like soften myself and like release. But like if I'm away for a few weeks and I'm like doing the shower thing, but then like eventually I'm able to have some free time. Like I want to run to a beach. I want to run to a lake. Like I want to just like submerge myself in water. So that's been like a cleansing journey that I've been on. But I mean, I have so many things. I think that also like turning off my mind as best as I can. So like putting my phone down is like a big thing, or going for a walk. Or
how do you not obsess over the phone? Like, do you have
I don't know, man. Like, like I'm not perfect, and I fall victim to it all the time.
Well, I just had to take like an extreme measure, which I'll even tell you more about after this, because I have to like it's like a full like experience. But I just got a second phone.
Okay.
So I have one phone that has like all social media on it, and also just like any app I don't want on my phone. Like, it has Postmates on it, it has DoorDash, it has every social media app, it has YouTube, it has all the sort of entertainment. It has like, you know, the Netflix, the Hulu, the Max. It has all, it's basically, I've named it, because you can name each phone, each device, the bad phone.
Okay.
And then I have the good phone, which I bring around with me every day, and it has like, you know, all the stuff I need for work on it.
Wait, did you come up with this, or did someone like give you this advice?
This totally exists somewhere. However, I did ultimately come up with it. I
like this idea.
It's completely excessive in the sense that now I have two phones, ultimately, which is wild, but
a little annoying.
It's totally annoying, but
I like this
but
idea.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's literally, I've not been on Instagram like doom scrolling in
it becomes
over a week.
It becomes an addiction, no? Like
I was fully addicted. That's why I did this.
That's something that I practice a lot, is like when I feel myself, like I go to grab my phone and I'm like, I don't need to do this. I'm like, I'm with my friends, or I'm like watching this game, or like, why am I craving this right now? So then I just put it back down.
I was so bad about it that, like, to me, also too, I almost had this like anxious, like obsessive sort of trait about it, where I'd be like, I need to check to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
This is my job. I have to check. Yeah. And it's like, if something's going wrong,
you're going to find out.
I'm going to find out. Yeah. So I need to let this control go. And that's been the hardest thing about it. Like, obviously, you know, I like to see what people are up to, and I get like super, you know, everybody has their own like stalking journey, like whatever. It's like like you start on the explore page, and next thing you know, you're on like your middle school best friends page, and it's
I know someone who is pretty well known and doesn't have social media at all, and I asked her, I was like, or someone else asked her, I was in the room, they were like, wait, what? You don't have social media? Like, how do you know like the news? Like, how do you know what's going on? And she's like, if it's big enough, I'll hear about it. Like, I don't need social media to know what's going on. So I do kind of agree that it's kind of a silly excuse to be like, I need to know what's going on. Like, you don't need to know, because you will find out.
You will find out.
But I also, I think I sometimes almost, it's my messages that overwhelm me more than social media sometimes. I am on social media, but I wouldn't say I'm that crazy on it. Like, I'm not on it all the time. It's more like messages for me. Like, I think I have a lot of work stuff, but I'm also like, you know, my friends chatting and group chats and the whole thing. And so I'm silencing everything. I need to start doing Do Not Disturb. I haven't gotten there yet.
Whoa, I've been on Do Not Disturb for 4 years.
No, I know. I haven't done that yet, and I need to get into it. I think it would be good for me, because I feel like I like having 0 messages.
Oh, same.
Are you that girl?
Yes.
Okay. I like having 0 messages, so I feel like I need to answer everybody.
Yeah.
But why do we feel obligated? That's not normal to have for someone to have access to you 24/7 is not normal. It's not how like human like that's not human nature.
That's another thing I did with the second phone.
Yeah.
2 numbers. So one number that is like the one on my phone constantly, that's just, you know, this is all still a work in progress, but it's like right now it's literally just my parents and like, you know, like the closest like 4 people to me who like need my contact, and then work people.
Yeah.
And then the other phone is like, you know, it's everyone else, because I also feel this sort of pressure at times where, you know, maybe you'll have like 4 people who are like, hey, let's hang out. And it's like, that can cause a lot of anxiety when you're not in the headspace to be handling it. And when you're like already overwhelmed with your life, maybe through work or whatever, or from work or whatever. And then now all of a sudden, you know, you just can't always manage.
I'm very easily overwhelmed.
Me as well.
Very easily overwhelmed.
And it's not even anything personal to anyone the fact that I'm like, okay, I need these two numbers because I need to be able to have these other conversations at a time when I can actually give my full self to it.
Totally.
And that has been really interesting. Like, you know, I always have 0 notifications on my main phone, and you know, and those are really the things I need to know immediately. Everything else can wait 8 hours, 24 hours, even 48, and it's just not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know,
But
maybe
it's like
try the 2 phones.
No, I might. I actually really
It's
like
kind
this
of a
idea.
vibe.
But yeah, definitely the thing of like reassuring yourself, like, oh, this doesn't need to be answered right away. Like, I think people also expect you. I expect my friends. I'm like, hey, when I hit you, like, I expect my friends to reply. So, you know, I don't like that expectation on me, so I don't want to expect that from anyone else either. I think that we need to be able to like loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
For me, it's messages that overwhelm me a little bit more.
Speaking of like phone anxiety, we're both anxious. We both talked about it a lot. In fact, like you've really spoken about it throughout the years so much, which I think is so important and special, not only for yourself, to help people understand you better as a public figure, because anxiety can present itself in a number of ways.
For sure.
But also, you know, just it is important. It like, as an anxious person myself, anytime somebody else is like, I'm so anxious, I'm like, thank God. Because like, you know, because I think with anxiety too, you can convince yourself that you have your own weird version of it that no one else has.
Yeah.
And like,
which it is like, it's not one size fits all.
Totally.
Cures and shit, like whatever. It is kind of a thing of like, you know, figuring out your way with it.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But it's still nice to know everybody has their own weird version of it.
Totally. You're like not alone in it whatsoever.
Like, what does your day-to-day routine look like to sort of like keep the anxiety low? Like, you know, from morning to night, what are the different things that you integrate? You already mentioned sort of like the water tactic of like getting in water. But you know, do you read books a lot? Like, do you have like, you know, a meditation that you do? Like, what does your day look like for anxiety prevention, if you will?
For a long time, I thought it was do the meditation, which I believe in meditation, and I believe that it is very helpful. Do the meditation, do the, you know, all the like actual like real things. I think sometimes it's as simple as, and it's kind of what we were just talking about, is like managing what can cause, like knowing what can cause it and trying to find your boundaries with it, manage it, not do it at all. Like things like, we're talking about the phone, things like me getting like overwhelmed with messages. Okay, if I'm feeling overwhelmed with messages that aren't necessary to respond to right now, maybe it is about putting my phone away for a second and literally going for a 15-minute walk or literally making cookies or like actually watching maybe like a cartoon for a second to just like calm my nervous system. I don't know, whatever it looks like for you. I think it's, like I said, not a one size fits all journey. And I think it's so much about finding what calms your nervous system and recognizing it, putting it in like a notepad somewhere and being like, okay, these are things that calm me. These are things that make me worse or give me anxiety or make me feel overwhelmed, and trying to then navigate like, okay, how can I kind of avoid these things or find boundaries with these things? And how can I gravitate more towards the things that make me feel good? So
it's more intuitive, I think, than like a structural. I've noticed that too. Like, I almost have to handle my anxiety on a case-by-case basis.
Totally.
It's like, okay, because I've tried to do things like, I mean, there are certain like, you know, fundamental sort of parts of my day-to-day life that I know make me more anxious or are helpful.
Totally. So for example, like I think waking up in the morning, and I am not perfect with this. I can't say that every morning I do this, but waking up in the morning and not immediately looking at my phone and
changes
scrolling,
the game.
A lot of what it is so much overstimulation. So it's like a lot of too much information for our brain to even process. And especially scrolling like TikTok, like we're not meant to see that much information that quickly. I'm going from crying because something was so cute and sad to like hysterically crying laughing because something was so funny. Like, I don't know if we're supposed to feel those two things within a span of 30 seconds. Or we're not used to it, at least. I don't know.
I'm curious about sort of, you know, the process of building friendship. I know I've had interesting friendship building experiences just because naturally it's like, I don't know, like it's challenging in an environment where people potentially can gain from you in a lot of different ways, whether it's, you know, career-wise, or even just like, you know, going to dinner and like, oh, well, maybe she will pay or whatever, like whatever
Yeah,
it may
yeah.
be. Like it's very uncomfortable sort of trying to navigate building friendships that are genuine and positive and where you can truly trust,
Mm-hmm.
the people that you're around. And I mean, no friend is perfect
Mm-hmm.
either,
Yeah.
right? So it's like also balancing this sort of complex situation where it's like not every friend is perfect, but also I need to have maybe stricter boundaries in some ways because there's a lot of people that might be trying to potentially take advantage of me. What has been your sort of friendship strategy? Because it's so important.
Well, I think I think also like I don't know, maybe this is just a me thing, but I feel like I hear this from other women as well. Is like I think when you're older as a woman, like sometimes it's a little bit more like you kind of have your friends, right? You kind of already
Mhm.
have your like your crew and your vibe, and it's a little bit more on the rare side to like make new friends
Totally.
as you get older. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I've just experienced that.
I've
But
heard that too. In
not
some
because
ways.
not because you're not a friendly person or you can't meet other friendly people. It's just kind of like a little more rare, I guess. Like
Yep.
when you're a kid, everybody's your friend and you're always making friends and
Yep.
whatever. And I think that I have really good judgment. I also feel like I have really good like I can really read people really
Mhm.
well and get a really good vibe most of the time.
Mhm.
So I think I've gotten really lucky with that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I trust my body and I trust those energy feelers.
Totally.
And if I don't feel good around someone, I know that there's probably a reason. So I
Mhm.
just don't waste my time going there.
Mhm.
And I'm really tough. Like I'm like
Mhm.
I have a friend who is so open to other people and
Yeah.
is so like whatever, and she can get kicked in the ass sometimes because of it.
Yeah.
And I just am so not that person. I don't really let a lot of people in, especially now.
Mhm.
But I never really have, even since I was young. It's kind of always been part of my nature. But again, for me, it's an energy thing. Like if I feel like really good around someone, like you and I knew
Mhm.
I liked you before I met you,
Yay!
which is an interesting scenario.
Yeah.
So I was like excited to get to know you,
Yeah.
and you didn't disappoint, and you're like
Thank
amazing,
you.
and you're great.
Thank you. And ditto.
And thank you. And so much of it is vibe and energy for me.
I completely agree. Like
And I don't just trust right away. Like
oh,
I
yeah.
definitely like I like slow pedal, and then one day I'm like,
You're an open.
yeah, I can feel that like this is a good vibe and like we're good.
You can't, like, I still am sort of, I bet you learned that throughout your life. Like, I feel like that was something that probably happened, like, without you even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's just your nature, though, too. It could be one or the other or a mixture. But it's like, that is so important because I'm somebody I'm just kind of like a free bird. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
like telling everyone everything about me. And it's like, and it's something I'm really working on because it's fucking, it's kind of spooky out here sometimes. Like, you
Spooky.
can't, like,
Spooky.
you can't do that. And
Spooky.
I do that. You know what I mean?
And like I think there's something like free about it for sure. To
Mhm.
be like, everything's gonna be okay and like
Yeah.
everyone's amazing and whatever. But there's also something like just I think we have to sometimes remind ourselves like of the world we live in now and like the
Mhm.
way that I don't know, everybody wants to talk and
It's
I just like
horrible.
I don't want to be a part of it and I don't
N
know. So I
yeah.
keep to myself and my crew as much as I can. But at the same time I love being in like the rooms that we're in or like being at a fun event and
Totally.
seeing someone who I'm like a fan of or that I love and I think is really cool and like being able to chop it up and
Yeah.
like all of that is great. I love all of that and I love experiencing new people and
You just know your
finding
boundaries with
yeah.
it so that
But I
you're
think
not.
that's important in everything is boundaries. Like I
Yes.
think that in any relationship and whatever. And I mean that to say like protecting your energy.
Totally.
Like I think that's the
Yeah.
most important part of it. I also think we live in a world like, I think evil eye is a real thing. So we live in a world
Yeah.
where like you expose yourself to so much evil eye and that can become really heavy.
Yeah.
And people, aka the world or even people closer than you think might be wishing poorly on you and
Mhm.
without themselves even knowing it. I think like even subconsciously people can wish poorly on you.
Yeah.
Energetically people can wish poorly on you. So anything that's important to you, I believe in like keeping to yourself. And like
I agree.
a job that you might want, you don't need to tell everybody that you're going for this job because there might be people closer than you think like trying to put it
Yep.
down or like put bad vibes into it.
Mhm.
Again, they could be doing it subconsciously.
Mhm.
So I think that's a big thing for me is like protecting my energy, protecting my surroundings, protecting information, protecting my life. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Keeping it sacred.
Totally.
What is something that you've worked on with yourself over the last few years that has like paid dividends? Like what's like work on yourself that's been the most impactful? Like a challenge that you've overcome that's been like, holy shit, that changed the game for me.
I think so much of it is like life experience,
Mhm.
like learning lessons, right? Like just
Mhm.
learning experiences, going through shit, coming out the other side, knowing what worked for you, knowing what didn't. But I think that the biggest thing for me, I'm relatively new to like the therapy
Mhm.
experience, but I started like 2 years ago, and I think my therapy journey has been really nice for me. I consider myself a really self-aware person.
Mhm.
I think it's only made me more self-aware.
It's unbelievable.
To be able to talk through problems with someone else and be able to like maybe see them at face value, or like uh digest why I might do something a certain way, or why I might handle a situation a certain way.
Mhm.
It's only made me more self-aware. So I'd say like probably my therapy journey is like the most
That's a great answer.
transformative thing in the last 2 years.
I've never found a good therapist, but I'll find
But
one.
it's so much of that.
It
You will,
really
by the way.
is.
If you continue to
Yes.
look, you will. Mine, I went through a few, and then I kind of gave up.
Mhm.
And then one day she like came to me through someone. Like someone was like, "Oh my God, I just found this amazing person.
Yep.
You should try them." And I did, and I was like, "Wait, I'm really into this vibe." So I
Yep.
do believe it comes to you when it's meant to, in a way. I think that something like advice I would give is like something that's really been interesting for me is like consistency. So like there will be
Yeah,
days.
that's probably what it is.
No, but you should
Yeah.
find someone who makes you feel like you want to be
Yes,
consistent. I
absolutely.
believe that as well. But I think that consistency is important only because like there are days where I go into it where I'm like, my life feels great right now. Like I don't need
Yeah.
to do this today. Like
Yeah.
why? I think I'm going to cancel.
Yeah.
And then I don't cancel and I do it, and something always comes up. Doesn't mean it's negative.
Interesting.
But something always comes to fruition in these sessions. And I think that that's what's really important about a consistent journey.
Yes.
Is like, I believe that if you want to do it for a few years and then maybe take like 6 months off or a year off, whatever,
Yeah.
that's fair. You can do whatever you want to do, especially in that type of environment. But for me, that's something I've noticed is like sticking to it, even on the good days, is like really important.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're inspiring me to try again for the
Good.
bazillionth time. What do you think is the most simplified recipe for you for a fulfilled life? Not necessarily a happy life, because that's a little bit too much to ask, because that doesn't exist. But like a fulfilled life in the sense that you feel sort of full in your heart, you know? There's always going to be some sadness and there are
Of
some
course.
challenges.
Well, that's
but
what makes the happiness all the better.
Exactly. So what do you think is your recipe for a fulfilled life? Like it could be anything. It could even be like little things that you do on a day to day. It could be
Yeah.
anything.
Well, I crave a simple life, that's for sure. Like I
Yeah.
think that when I see myself older and hopefully with a really amazing, beautiful family of my own and all those things, like I think that that's a part of the recipe, right?
Yes.
But I also think something that would be meaningful to me is like something that is meaningful to me and that would continue to be meaningful to me is like relationships with like important people in my life, friends, really beautiful times, really beautiful memories. Like those are really like just so important. They're the only things we can bring with us when we leave this place. And I think that that's really important to me, is creating that space and that time for those things. And I think leaving an impact on those people is really important to me. So as long as like I bring only great vibes to the people that bring great vibes to me, then I would feel like I would be really fulfilled in life and, you know, my future relationships. But yeah, I definitely crave like a simple life. Like I want to be out of here one day.
Yeah. I
and,
get
like,
it.
Go be on a farm and
I so get it.
yeah.
And I also, but it is interesting. We're very aligned there, where it's like, it comes down to people and community. It's like,
Totally.
it really, a lot of this, I mean, we are on our own individual journeys, but people are so important.
So important. We're not designed to be
We need
lonely.
each other.
Like we do need each other. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that, you know, having a room full of people that you love and that love you back is super important. And I don't know, it definitely makes for a fulfilled life. But right now, like I say I want to move to a farm, which I definitely do, and I crave that pretty much every day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I think I have this like not fear of I have this fear of getting older, but not for the physical reasons. Like I have a fear of getting older because everyone who's older like always is like, it goes by so fast.
Yes.
And like I get chills right now even saying that. Like cuz I'm only 28, of course I'm still young, but like even those 28 years went by so fast.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it only feels like it gets faster."
Yeah.
And I think that I have this fear of like not enjoying myself, especially while I'm like young and able and healthy and like
Totally. I
my body is
understand
here
that.
to serve me. And I think that I want to enjoy that too. So I feel really like I want to be where my feet are, right? And I want to like experience everything the way I should. And I want to like live my life. You know what? Your podcast, I don't know if it was your podcast or your YouTube channel, but I remember you said something one time because you have really good one-liners, but like, I mean,
Thank
you're
you.
really good at everything. But like, you said something one time where you were like, you know, sometimes I have like a week where I'm really bored, or like sometimes I'm having a really boring day. And like, I've realized that that's actually more normal than like you think. And I used to like
Yes.
beat myself up about like being like not doing anything today or
Yeah.
like whatever, and kind of just having a mundane day. And like, it actually is really normal.
Yes.
And I think especially right now in like social media, we think that everything should be glitzy and glammy and shiny and like perfect and
Yes.
always traveling and always doing these things and always with fun people. Like
Yeah.
that's not the reality of everyone's life. Those
In
are
fact,
screenshots.
it's not good for you either.
No.
You need the boring day
Yeah, of course.
in so many different ways.
Of course. And I think that like you and you're a homebody. I'm so a homebody and I enjoy being home. I am not the girl who's going to go out and rage.
Yeah.
All the time. I love a good occasional like fun night dancing.
We need a
Let's go out
phase
with
every once in a while, but we're not like a consistent.
I always say to my friends who are like, oh my God, come out, live your life. I'm like, but what if I'm really happy in my bed early watching a
Yes.
movie? Like, what if that makes me really happy?
I'm in a board game phase. It's
I love this.
I can't believe I'm saying it, but like this last weekend was like, I can't go out because I really want to play this board game again. Like I've been playing it for like the entire week.
But that's
like,
okay.
But
If
was
it makes you
great.
happy, who
It made me
cares?
so much happier, and I went to bed at a reasonable time, and it was beautiful.
I love
and like,
that.
but that's totally. I know exactly what you mean.
Totally okay. But at the same time, while I say that, and that is who I am, that is what I love, is like being at home, being the homebody, all those things. I also think having those special memories and those big nights and those fun nights, like that's also important to me. I'm in a phase in life right now where I'm like, maybe I will just go and see what happens.
Yep.
I want to like live a little right now and be where my feet are and experience as much as I can and just like move, go with the flow.
Yes.
That's totally my vibe right now.
Me too.
So
We're
we'll see what
aligned,
happens.
sister. I love it. Okay, but my last question though is,
Yes,
and this is
ma'am.
completely off topic, is if you had to make me a cocktail right now, obviously with tequila,
Okay.
I mean, duh, but also because that's my liquor of choice anyways, what would you make me? Tell me the exact recipe. Like I'm saying
Okay,
like,
but no, but you're like, this is too easy.
I know, well, I guess, okay, but it can't be an espresso martini.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
No, it can't be an espresso martini. It has to be
Set me up for
something,
that one.
something else. It has to
Okay.
be like something brand new.
Well, if it wasn't an espresso martini with Chamberlain coffee in it,
Of
it
course.
would be.
And 818 tequila, of course.
Oh my God, I don't know. I'm so like, I enjoy, because I love to appreciate the tequila. So it would be with tequila.
Do you just drink it on the rocks for the most part?
Most part, yeah.
Whoa.
Our Reserve, I drink on the rocks. So I like simple drinks. Like I like Our Reserve on the rocks with squeezed in like orange and just like leaving the orange on the rim. Like that's my favorite. But if I had to make you something, I don't know. I think that like I've made really yummy drinks in my life. Like I randomly love to, like I like to do this thing where I take like drinks that are traditionally made with like other alcohols and like make it with tequila, like a Negroni. I know that might be a little bit intense, but like love. Or like, I don't know, an old fashioned or something.
Yum.
But those are like very mature. No?
Wait, you need to make those for me.
Okay, I will.
I don't think
Anytime.
I've had.
Well, I still haven't been to your house, so.
Yeah, okay, well,
I'll come over
we're
and we'll make
planning that.
cocktails.
We're going to have the most fun time. We're going to play a board game.
I'm so down, I swear.
Night.
I'm your gal. Like,
it's so Kendall. This one game that I'm
what's
like,
it called?
it's called, Ticket to Ride.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
no idea what that is.
No, it's so, there is something like kind of like, I've been playing it since I was little, but now that I'm an adult, it's the most strategic, challenging game. Like I feel my brain cells like rebuilding. Like I'm getting smarter from this game.
I see. I like
because
games
it's so
like that.
hard.
I like games like that. Like I used to like to play like video games and stuff a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, I was like, I want to dive back into this and see what's like out in the world. And
Yeah.
anytime I found like puzzle
Oh,
Like
so
games that like challenge your brain, like even on like Xbox or whatever,
Yeah.
or PlayStation. Like I love those types of games.
Well, you're coming over and we're gonna play.
Perfect. Challenge me.
Okay, I can't wait.
Make my brain stronger.
Okay, good. I'll see you then.
Perfect.
Okay, bye.